Welcome to Budget Bolter. This is a Warhammer based hobby channel aimed at bringing new and returning players into the hobby, as well as saving you as much money as possible. Miniature wargaming is not the cheapest hobby in the world, but it's far from the most expensive. So I aim to provide and promote ways to make it accessible to as many people as possible. Let's face it, 2020 has been a rollercoaster year for everybody, and a hobby like this is a great way to wind down and just forget about the world for a few hours. Let's get started on the most important thing for miniature wargaming, the miniatures. For new and returning players, starter sets are a great way to get your first miniatures. These contain enough models to play your first games with a friend, relative, or board partner. Currently, Warhammer 40,000 is in its 9th edition, and with that, a new set of starter boxes. This contains both models for both Space Marines and Necrons. Generally, most box sets contain one form of Space Marines, as these are by far the most popular army that Games Workshop produce. So if the look of them interests you, or they are generally one of the cheaper armies to start with. Necrons have just had a massive new update with amazing new sculpts. Can be a very easy army to paint if you want them to be, which makes them a very good army for newer players. A great bit of value in this Recruit Edition is that the retail price of Necron Warriors is £29. For 10 Necron Warriors, you also get free Scarabs. These are all contained in the Recruit Edition box. For just an extra £3.50, you also get 5 Assault Intercessors, the Royal Warden for the Necrons, and a Space Marine Lieutenant. So generally, this is saving you a considerable amount of money, and the box is probably worth twice as much as what you actually pay for it. If neither of these armies tickle your pickle, the next best thing is a stock collecting box. These generally contain a HQ or a hero, your basic troop choice, in a larger model like a tank or a monster. Not all of these are made equal in terms of on-the-table points of power, though they're generally a great place to start, with usually a £20 to £40 saving on buying kits separately. eBay and Facebook groups are another great place to start, as you can find big job lots of miniatures from people selling old armies to fund new purchases, to people's parents who have sold their armies when they've went away for uni, for normally massively reduced rates. Finally, when it comes to buying your first models, I'd always recommend using a third-party retailer such as Goblin Gaming, or a friendly local game store like Battle Bunker in Sunderland, or Patriot Games in Leeds. These usually save you up to about 20% on recommended retail price, which can really add up on some purchases. Next up is getting your first paints and tools for the hobby. I personally like the GW paint sets for beginners, as they usually contain 12 to 13 paints, plus clippers and a starter brush. Remember, go to a third party to get up to 20% off, even though paying the full RRP grants considerable savings over buying each pot of paint separately. These also come with a version with free models for either the Space Marines or Necrons currently, which are great for practicing on. Painting is a daunting task, but there are many great channels on YouTube, such as the official Warhammer channel, with hours upon hours of tutorials for every skill level. Next is some of my favourite ways to save money in this hobby. Buying a large pack of brushes from Wish or a shop like The Works for a few quid is a great way to get started, and personally some of my favourite workhorse brushes aren't actually even expensive ones. If you buy a pack of 10 and 8 are rubbish, you've still got 2 solid brushes for less than the post and packaging that you'd pay for a more expensive brush. These obviously don't last as long as a higher quality brush, but they're great to start with. Next, tools such as a palette to put your paint on are also available at places like The Works or Wilgo for less than £1. Even making a wet palette can be done with some Tupperware for a few quid. This is something I will go over in a later video. I can't stress enough that the price doesn't always guarantee quality. Games Workshop primers are great if you want to quickly spray your army a uniform colour such as McCrag Blue for the Ultramarines chapter, but you do pay a premium for that. By far the best brand of primer I've ever used is Halford's. Yes, the car shop. Their own brand grey primer retails at around about £6.50 and gives a great colour and coverage to prime your models, regardless of what colour they will end up. I'll make a video on the best ways to prepare your primer, but I always recommend using the warm calm technique, which involves putting the can not fully submerged in some warm, not boiling, because you don't want your can to explode, water for a minute or so, then giving it a good shake for another minute or two. Always check the weather outside, because if the humidity is too high or it is too warm, then your paint is either just going to go real nasty and it's going to end up with problems. Finally, is where to get the rules to learn to play. The core rules are available for free on the Games Workshop website and 40k app. These are the basic set to start playing your first games. They are also available in the Recruiting Elite editions, with the rulebook being available separate or in the Command edition. The app is a current work in progress, but has potential to be very good. Now every 9th edition codex will now contain a single-use code to redeem a digital version of the codex. The codex is your army's book for all the special and unique rules, as well as containing the lore for your chosen army. These are needed for playing the game, as it contains the data sheets for every unit that's available to your army, as well as examples how you could build and also paint your chosen army. Battlescribe is an unofficial 40k list builder that contains ability build lists. This is great as it's free, though it does occasionally contain mistakes, but the guys that created it and updated are absolute legends, and part of the reason 40k in my opinion has been doing so well in the recent years. Finally, YouTube is a great option to learn, as many channels have instructional videos for every aspect of the hobby, regardless of what you are wanting from it. Make sure to leave a comment on any tips you may have, and what you'd like to see next from the channel. Thanks for checking this out, and if you liked the video, can you please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share with anyone that you may think you may enjoy the hobby. Thanks again, and catch you later.